March Madness is the one single thing in this world that's the closest to a real-life anime. The absolute state of chaos that is the NCAA Division I men's basketball tournament supplies edge of your heart, heart-stopping, adrenaline-pumping, unbelievable lunacy on a yearly basis. It's also my favorite sporting event. Yes, even over the World Axe Throwing League, and yes, even over the stupid Robot Fighting League. Every year, we get 64 of the country's finest college basketball teams pitted against each other, and it's anybody's game. Millions of viewers, including myself, get an incomparable high from the hype of this tournament, while simultaneously juxtaposed with the purest of despair. There's a lot of pain that comes with watching this tournament. This year seems to be a little different though. If you take a look, things are... they're a bit of a mess. This March Madness might have been the maddest one yet, and I'm gonna share that with you today. Buckle up for a video filled with chaos.
Menendy, what if I'm not into basketball?
Oh, you will be after this video.
And they knock off the defending national champions, the Owls, alive and well.
And this tournament gives you those incredible shining moments.
Let's start this off by taking a look at my bracket. Yup, Houston winning it all in a Final Four consisting of themselves, Alabama, Marquette, and UConn. Relatively unoffensive other than a few silly goofy things. I really liked FAU going into the tournament and I bought into them because they seemed more like the real deal and not just a Cinderella pick. I got Louisiana upsetting Tennessee because why would I trust Tennessee in the tournament? I have another 14-3 upset with Kennesaw State beating Xavier, only for them to lose to the Iowa State Cyclones, the clones. Elite 8 bound, I'm a believer. So these were the picks I made going into the tournament. I did everything I could to get a moderate amount of information and analysis to inform my picks while ultimately trusting my gut. With that bias, I mean perspective established, let's start with not the first four. It happened, I don't care for it. Some of the games were neat, here's what moved on. The tournament started with Maryland and West Virginia, and while my heart sided with West Virginia for all the country roads memes, my pick in Maryland squeezed it out, so I'm 1 for 1 on a game that was a toss-up. Virginia is a safer pick though. A strong ACC school going up against 13-seeded Furman? Yeah, Virginia had control throughout most of the game, but it wasn't like Furman was going down without a fight. Shooting from 3 is significantly better than Virginia's doing. Virginia should probably step it up because there's every reason to believe that Furman is gonna pull out the first big upset of the tournament. Never mind, the Cavs in possession up by 2 with seconds ticking away and throw it to nobody and Furman gets the ball back and trade a 3? This is the second game of the first day, and we already have the tournament's sole Southern Conference rep making a fool out of Virginia? Again? We've only just begun. Missouri, Kansas, Alabama, and San Diego State take care of business to move on, and it's expected that 2-seeded Arizona does the same. And by do the same, I mean not getting stuck in the mud against 15-seeded Princeton. It was ugly. There wasn't a lot of scoring, but Princeton put on a defensive clinic to give us another major upset. That's my first Elite 8 pick that's straight up gone from the tournament on day 1, and a high pick I'm sure for many others. It got me thinking, this is the 3rd straight year a 15-2 upset happened, and we saw a 14-3 upset earlier in the day. Is the tournament more volatile than ever before? Before I can get an answer to that, Arkansas gets it done against Illinois, Auburn beats Iowa, and I know that they both weren't that great going in the tournament, but this game was in Birmingham, and that's some kind of superficial home field advantage for Auburn. Duke beats Oral Roberts handily, which sucks. Oral Roberts had so many eyes on them going into the tournament, and to be paired up against a red-hot Duke team was a really bad draw for them. Texas and Northwestern moved on, and Louisiana versus Tennessee, this was a 14-3 upset I picked. Watching the first half, the Raging Cajuns get smacked. It's exactly what you'd expect this matchup to be like, falling as far behind as an 18-point deficit. But then something interesting happened. Louisiana rallied back, looking to shock the world for what, the 3rd, 4th time today? Or the whole Louisiana offense stopped the comeback. As much as I wanted to see the Raging Cajuns recover from that deficit, in most cases it's just asking too much. Should've known you didn't have it in you, sorry. We start day 2 with Michigan State taking control and beating USC, and Kennesaw State rallying against Xavier. This is one of my major upset picks, and I think it's justified here. Kennesaw State's a team that plays hard for their coach, and that's one of the intangibles that's hard to come by. They're not just keeping pace. By the second half, they have a 13-point lead in the last 10 minutes. Kennesaw State is playing the game of their lives. Even so, Xavier responds. Kennesaw, You gonna maintain that lead? Can you at least not crumble slowly when you have a clear advantage on both the scoreboard and on the court? Xavier was playing ugly for most of the game, but they did get their act together. In Kennesaw State, the upset was in your hands. How did you let this happen? Xavier moves on, as many predicted, but it should have been an upset.
Kennesaw State, what?
Iowa State, though, I'm feeling pretty good. Talk about their poor performance as of late all you want, but they've got a high ceiling. And if they can break that, they're poised to make an Elite 8 run.
So let's go Clones, baby! This is destiny! Yeah! The Clones! The Clones! The Clones!
The clones! The clones? The clones? Yeah? The clones? So Creighton wins, UConn beats Iona, Purdue is struggling against FDU, Kentucky beats Providence, wait, what is happening here? A Big Ten powerhouse being dragged down by Fairleigh Dickinson University? They're shutting down Zach 80. Purdue's 7-4 game-changing big. Purdue's being outshot by the smallest school in the country. I don't even know what to say. The most unlikely event to happen in all of sports. A 16 seed beats a 1 seed. A feat that's only been accomplished one other time in the tournament's history. What can be said other than mad respect to the phenomenal play from FDU? Wait, they were first 14 too? Remember when I asked, is the tournament more volatile than ever before? Yes. The answer is a resounding yes. The next few games go about what you'd expect, and then we hit FAU versus Memphis. This was a matchup that was probably the toughest to call. Both of these teams are the real deal, and either one has the potential to go on a deep run. Here though, we got a slobber knocker. Both teams are giving everything they have just to move forward one round. I'm pulling for FAU since they are an Elite 8 pick for me, but Memphis isn't giving them any breaks. It all culminated in the final 2 minutes where I almost fainted over the sheer amount of stress. Both teams pushed so hard with time ticking away, pushing in the paint and causing the most shocking turnovers I've ever seen within an instant that I could not seriously guess who was going to win this game. But finally, FAU sinks one last layup with seconds to go that served as a dagger. Man, this is gonna be some stories I'm gonna be telling my grandkids. TCU cuts it close with Arizona State, but other than that, we conclude an exciting, miserable, heart-stopping first round. Wait, there's more? Does Furman add on to their Cinderella run? No. Does Duke continue to keep it together and leave Tennessee disappointed? Disappointingly, no. Does Arkansas upset number 1 seeded Kansas? Yeah. What? Kansas was in control for most of the game, even being up by 12 at one point, outshooting Arkansas handily, but the Razorbacks had the advantage at the line and with rebounds, and they came through when it counted. You could say that Kansas may have had some disarray without their coach Bill Self at the helm, and that might be true, but Arkansas has this weird thing of making respectable runs in the tournament in recent years, so give them credit. After Arizona got knocked off, the opportunity for Missouri and their scrappy crew to push further into the tournament is in their hands. Princeton said,
Actually, we're gonna take control of the entire game, have every advantage, out-rebound you all significantly, and punch your ticket into the Sweet 16.
Princeton is gonna be in the Sweet 16. Princeton. Really? Houston does get a scare, but their bench comes through in a very big way. Their top guy is battling through injury, but if their bench can come through like they did against Auburn, they're gonna be set. UCLA lets Northwestern get a bit too close, but other than that, we move on, finishing day 3 on a quieter note. Day 4 continues with this energy for the most part. Pitt and Kentucky try their best, but Xavier and Kansas State were just playing better. I may be a bit bitter that Xavier shouldn't even be here, but I'll swallow my pride for now. Marquette, one of my Final Four picks, is trailing behind Michigan State. Oh. Senior guard Tyson Walker puts up 23 points as the Spartans rally aggressively. Even so, Marquette still has the raw momentum, going off a 9-game win streak into this game and a Big East title, so there's no reason not to believe that they won't clutch it out in the end. They don't clutch it out in the end. Well, you know what they say, reject modernity and embrace tradition. There goes my first Final Four pick out of the tournament. Awesome, I'm not upset, I'm not seething, I've still got 3 of the 4, see? UConn handles St. Mary just fine to move on, and Baylor, it doesn't. Cool. FAU, pick up the slack and you're getting stuck in the mud against FDU too? I gotta give credit. FAU plays so hard and they're taking advantages with double-digit turnovers. As this terrifying FDU team is gnawing at their feet, FAU is gonna be taking this one, albeit in a very ugly Really? FAU wants to end the game on that note? I love this team and they've earned a spot in the next round, but come on, y'all are looking for some sort of retribution. Miami is gonna steamroll Indiana, and Gonzaga? Is this the time they're gonna disappoint? Oh, I've been waiting to dog on them, but no. They have Drew Timme, a true superstar big man with the talent to carry that entire team on his back. Scoring 28? Yeah, TCU can try all they want, but Drew Timme and that spectacular mustache are going to win the day. It doesn't matter. TCU is a respectable team, but we're going to be keeping with the narrative of Drew Timme carrying Gonzaga for now. Am I being too cynical? I just don't really like Gonzaga. The competition is starting to grow thin, and kicking off the Sweet 16, the teams remaining are not going to let up. Kansas State has been cruising their way so far, but they're running into trouble with Michigan State. On paper, you'd think that Kansas State would run away with yet another game, but in March, you might as well recycle that paper because hypotheticals are pointless. And we're going to overtime because Tom Izzo and his crew just won't quit. These cockroaches are going to take the Wildcats to task, but the Wildcats aren't going to be phased when they have guys like 5'8" senior point guard Marquise Noel taking control and allowing their team to hold. And yeah, Noel set a tournament record for assists in that game. It's enough to send the Spartans packing and further legitimize KSU as the first Elite 8 team. Next up is UConn and Arkansas, which should be a good, oh wait, I forgot, UConn has been steamrolling their way through this tournament. Arkansas trying to keep in this game is like trying to keep up with the freight train, there's no chance. Okay, is this the moment that Tennessee finally crumbles? Well, it's not looking like it. For 30 minutes, they have the upper hand in this game. However, it's a shame that college games are actually 40 minutes and FAU is able to gain the lead and hold on it for the rest of it. Tennessee still has a chance though. Crazier things have happened this tournament and I wouldn't put it past them to come back. Psych! You stupid guy! We are all living in Owl City this tournament! It's like I said, this team isn't a Cinderella. They're the real deal. Tennessee, pack it up. The Owls put you in your place and FAU lives to play another day. They might be surviving by the skin of their teeth, but in an environment like this, that's all you need. Like destiny, UCLA and Gonzaga face off yet again. In this matchup, you can guarantee everybody on the court is going to play hard and we're going to be left a spectacle. This matchup is no different. UCLA might have a sizable lead going into the middle part of the game, but don't be fooled. This game is as tense as advertised. You got 5 guys scoring double digits and 3 double-doubles on the court. And then there's Drew Timme dropping 36, what the The Bulldogs have a steep turnover margin over the Bruins, and they're out-rebounding them like it's nobody's business. All this coming together means that Gonzaga has an 8-point lead with 1:05 to go. It's game over, right? Left! UCLA, by the most miraculous means, end up storming back and tie the game. Within the final 20 seconds, UCLA's Amari Bailey gets the ball, and yes! Yes! This is a dagger! Get Gonzaga! This game is over, and it's time to tell Drew to say bye-bye and Julian Strother. There are no words. An instant classic. Well, after that roller coaster of events, there's a lot of blood and tears in the wake of this tournament, but my bracket's still doing okay. I imagine the 1 seeds are going to be taking care of business. Or we see the day that my bracket dies before my eyes. Alabama? In the wrong place at the wrong time against San Diego State. Houston? My champ? I don't even know what happened here. I don't even know what to say. I'm upset. Creighton ends Princeton's Cinderella run. Texas shuts down Xavier, who shouldn't even be here! So none of the number 1 seeds are even here, so I guess that classifies March Madness as a failed state or something. One of the teams flying above the madness is Florida Atlantic University. The Owls haven't even won a game in the tournament before this year, but they've clawed their way here. However, Kansas State is vying for their first Final Four appearance since 1964. Marquise Noel can be that guy and score 30 all he wants, but FAU's just built different, with 4 guys putting together double-digit games. It's a back and forth once again, but FAU is a team that has consistently won ugly, so you bet they're gonna find a way. On the back of taking advantage of KSU's mistakes and winning the turnover margin and out-rebounding the Wildcats, I'm starting to see a trend here. FAU is able to hold out yet again, winning the East and punching their ticket to the Final Four for the very first time, just like everyone predicted. Here we can see Gonzaga trip on the hardwood and get completely embarrassed and make you wonder why they were ever in the tournament at all. Wait, that was the 2021 National Championship, my bad. Here we can see Gonzaga trip on the hardwood and get completely embarrassed and make you wonder why they were ever in the tournament at all. Hold up, this is a Sweet 16 2022, give me a sec. Here we can see Gonzaga trip on the hardwood and get completely embarrassed and make you wonder why they were ever in the tournament at all. Do you see why I hate this team now? They might be a relatively likable bunch, and Drew Timme is an absolute freak of nature and brilliant player, but I hate seeing everyone hype them up when this has been the consistent outcome. It's not all their fault though. Keep in mind that they are playing UConn. This locomotive of death is finally going to be stopping in Houston after walloping Gonzaga and winning the West. Creighton here has been putting a pretty respectable run, and so has San Diego State for that matter. Honestly, I don't know how either of these teams got here. I think they might have taken the wrong door trying to find the bathroom, but they're engaged in, say it with me now, a back and forth contest. Creighton has every reason to win this game, and they're just barely able to outperform the Aztecs throughout most of the game. San Diego State senior guard Darian Trammell is the guy that ends up playing the hero, all in the form of the clutchest of free throws.
San Diego State up by one.
Someone go give the Blue Jays some hugs. That's a stinger. As for the San Diego State Aztecs, they win the South and head to the Elite Eight for the first time themselves. Texas looks like they're gonna be grabbing the final spot. Despite playing close in Miami, they're never able to pull away. Like a child grabbing at their parents' ankles, Miami is never that far behind, and their persistence pays off. Their painful defeat from last year is still pretty fresh in their minds, and it's enough to motivate them to stay in the game and even take the lead late. All their starting five put up double-digit points, with senior guard Jordan Miller putting down 27. Their persistence wins against whatever Texas has to offer to win the Midwest and round out the Final Four with a group that everyone definitely saw coming. But with that, we end this thrilling story in the only place that it could possibly end. Florida Atlantic, San Diego State, Miami, University of Connecticut. There is an unfathomable amount of blood on their hands, but in the hellscape of March Madness, that blood is a must. Through all the majesty and miracles, it's finally coming to a close. In Houston, one of these teams will be crowned champion! San Diego State has a very impressive defense, but Florida Atlantic always ends up finding a way to score. By the second half, they lead by 13, even as much as 14. But remember what I said, San Diego State's defense is scary. They've clamped down on offenses before, and guess what? They're able to shut down FAU here. On the back of sophomore guard Elijah Martin putting up 26 points, on top of the world of bandwagon Owls like myself on their side, it's close to the final ticks. The Owls have a lead, but they fumble and the Aztecs get a crucial defensive rebound, and FAU seemingly forgot the cardinal rule that got them to this point. Nobody's safe. Junior guard Lamont Butler pulls a jumper out of his ass to crush the Owl faithful and ending their season in a way more brutal than anything that got FAU to that point. Is it retribution? It might be, but FAU learned, forgot, and relearned that in this tournament, everything can change in one moment. One shining moment. That's the beauty of this tournament. It's what made this journey so fantastic, and I'm only sure that's going to continue into this match between Miami and UConn! What the heck are you doing? Jeez, Miami doesn't even stand a chance here! UConn just doesn't care. The Huskies are out for blood, and they don't care about any sort of feel-good stories. They just want their championship, and they want it now! Set up before us is an unstoppable force versus the immovable object. A potentially legendary clash that could go down the halls of basketball lore and cap off what very well might be the maddest March Madness of all time. Well, the national championship did put a close to the tournament. What the fuck happened here? Neither team was playing bad here, they were just both playing mid. It just happened that UConn was playing just a hair better. San Diego State looked lost in the sauce at times, and yeah, they did climb back, but it wasn't enough. The Huskies didn't exactly do anything to put the game away, but they at the very least didn't do anything that would throw their championship hopes in the fire like a certain other team did. It had some bright spots, but the way this tournament ended just feels anticlimactic. Tristan Newton, Adama Sanago, Jordan Hawkins, and Dan Hurley, y'all's team for all intents and purposes earned your national championship. That being said, it really doesn't matter. UConn may have barreled their way through this tournament, but it doesn't in any way negate the absolute spectacle that this tournament was. Anywhere you looked during the tournament, there was something that was absolutely chaotic. I'd much rather take one mediocre game and several unforgettable showdowns rather than just one all-time classic and a sea of awful play. I think everyone got what they wanted this year, and by that, I mean no one got what they wanted this year. But hey, that's March.
チゲだファンキーだみんな黙って俺についてこいチゲだファンキーだみんな必死で俺についてこいカモンチゲだファンキーだみんな黙って俺についてこいチゲだファンキーだみんな必死で俺についてこい